Okay, sure. So how many hours do I have?
30 or less.
I'm old. I've got a lot of backstory. So anyway, I'll try to be quick. I'm going to use my cheat sheet so I maybe can be a little quicker. But just to kind of give you guys a little bit of an idea. First of all, is the volume okay?
Yeah, we hear you just fine.
And please, anybody ask questions, but I guess Jean and Ray want you to go through the chat, but feel free to ask questions, and especially if I use any architecture jargon that doesn't make sense or that you want to know more about. So anyway, so I was a biology major and was out of school for about 5 years, got creatively frustrated, and I thought, okay, architecture, that looks like a good blend of the kind of scientific and technical and as well as artistic, because I was kind of artistically frustrated in the biology world. So anyway, I graduated, did conventional work, got frustrated with working for developers, doing the heartless kind of things they were doing. And then I discovered green building through the Austin Energy Green Building Program and really got sucked into that and volunteered to be the architect on the first project that they did. It was the what was it called? The Green Learning Project. We did it with Habitat for Humanity, the Green Building Program, and there's one other. Anyway, so it was the first greenhouse, so sustainable. So I did that for a while, and then I, after that demonstration home, I started doing all of the designs for the homes for Casa Verde builders. This was a youth build group through American Youth Works, and they have been building and still are building 4-star rated, which is high in our green building program, affordable houses here in Austin. And we've tried every kind of alternative wall system there is, Faz wall, straw bale. What are some of the other exterior? We did the interior straw panels. Anyway, a lot of different things. Now they're pretty much doing conventional, but they might be getting into Hempcrete. So I've been talking to Ray a little bit about that they might start training their kids in hemp lime, which would be awesome. So we're working on that. Anyway, so then I started my firm in 1991, and I went to a workshop with a Cobb Cottage company out in California. I don't know, 1992 or something like that, and just fell in love with Cobb and earth and building. So I kind of went the next step up from green building to natural building, and because I just loved it. I loved getting my hands in the dirt. I loved the design flexibility of curving forms, and I loved the thick walls and everything. So I was sold. So that was my new direction, and that's where I've been ever since then. And I've worked with all different types of natural building wall systems, straw bale, compressed earth block, light clay. What am I leaving out? Adobe a bit, and then I think it was. Let's see, it was about 2019. I discovered Hempcrete, and I can't even remember how. And then in 2020, Nora, who Ray mentioned, my client, wanted to use that for her cabins. So she's building a series of 6 cabins for chemically sensitive people and eco-travelers. So these are very, very carefully designed with indoor air quality in mind. Like mold cannot exist in these buildings. So, and Nora's very knowledgeable. And, I learned so much from every one of my clients, every one of my builders. So it's been really, really wonderful. And I should say, I also co-founded a nonprofit group in I think 1997 called Design Build Live to promote natural building, and we did bunches of workshops. Years and years ago, nobody around here was doing any natural building, so it's like I learned how to do lime plaster and I taught others. We just did free workshops and I taught others how to do it. And same with Cobb and other systems. But now we've got more professional natural builders around here, which is fabulous. And the professional builder that I've been working with on Nora's project is Brad King, and he's just awesome. He knows lime inside and out, and he's just amazing, and an incredible plasterer. So it's just been a delight working on that. So I'm going to try to wrap this up here on me. So now my main focus is on natural building and master site planning, doing the things that I really love to do. But I have sort of a minimum quality standard of what projects I will take on. And so far, I've had such awesome clients. But we look at climate responsive design, right sizing, the not so big house kind of approach. Healthy indoor air quality is huge. And then high efficiency water, HVAC, and electrical, and then appropriate, durable, and non-toxic materials. And we focus on trying to get as many local and natural and reclaimed materials as possible. And the other thing before I get into slides that I wanted to mention is I've always worked with a team approach. We try to get a builder on board just as soon as possible, early in schematic design, because the builder brings so much to the team. So the team of the builder, the owner, and me, the architect, we work all the way through design together. In limited sometimes, but definitely getting the input throughout. And I like working with professional builders. I like working with do-it-yourselfers. Working with a friend right now we're doing a ram tire greenhouse that's mostly below grade, and it's just it's a blast working with some of the owner builders. And it's a challenge, but it's a blast. So anyway, let me go ahead and get into. One thing I do want to emphasize is site planning. Now, this may not apply to everybody and every project, but for the most part, that's how I always start. We have to look at the whole site and how the house and the other buildings, the other things that the owner wants to do with the site. We have to look at those, right from the beginning. So, okay, so. Do you see this? It's going to be a little informal. Do you all see the site plan?
Yes.
Or it's actually, this is a site analysis. So I start out with a site analysis. And as you see in the key here, we look at water, sun, views, site and landscape, everything. So we look at the site. So this is this long, narrow site. And, look at the winds, the views, and so on. And then start putting in just big, dumb boxes where the buildings would go, and again looking at breezes, looking at orientation. In our climate, we definitely want the east-west axis long, so that we've got the biggest faces to the north and south. Oh, too much to get into, sorry. And then that gets translated into an actual site plan. So in this case, we ended up with the main house, and this is a compressed earth block house. And then the kind of the guest 2-story, the guest upstairs, that's compressed earth block. And then we did another straw bale separate guest house. So I just wanted to orient you to that. And then let's move that back. I'm going to be doing a lot of juggling here. Okay, so just to give you a little bit, I'm going to go through this fast because it's not Hempcrete, but it's a lot of the same kind of principles. I've been doing a lot of thick-walled construction, and a lot of the same kind of design principles apply, although this is load-bearing. But anyway, I'm going to flip through these really, really fast. But a lot of the features, the natural ventilation and light and shading, the owner is very sensitive to sun, so we had a lot of covered areas. Let's see, the front door was made by the builder, local wood, local light fixtures. This is living rooms and nano wall that opens up on this side and the other side as well. We'll get to that. The cupola, if you don't know what a cupola is, it's like a house sitting on top of the roof that you can it has windows that you can open for ventilation. It's one of the best ways to get natural ventilation. So now we're in the living room looking towards the kitchen, and lots of it's a great way to bring in natural light too. And the owner's brother made this gorgeous table. I mean, this was like a dream client. They're amazing project. So we had a little monitor and a cupola. Monitor is like a small cupola, and big beams, big Doug fir beams holding up the cupola, and then another kind of nano window opening up to the outside. This house is a lot of indoor outdoor. So this is the back side, and then the front nano wall, and then it opened up to the back for a lot of indoor outdoor. They do a lot of house concerts and a lot of entertaining. So this was ideal for them. And then there's some, snuggly private little spaces like the bench in the hallway, and this just showing the thick walls like we can get with Hempcrete, and the same thing with the local juniper headers, local wood. I don't know why I put that in, but it's in there. And then this is one of the outdoor areas off the guest room on the second floor. Really nice space, and it gave them the kind of the overlook of the countryside. You can't see out into it that they wanted. So this is from the balcony of that room that you just saw, looking or off the balcony from that room. So then you can see this is the garage, this is the man cave, and then this is a connection to the straw bale house that was designed for her dad, but he passed away before it was finished. And then the natural swimming pool was fun, really, really beautiful. And this is the little passageway to this straw bale house. Again, everything covered. And this is I think I just did one shot of the inside. Okay, so that's that. Now I wanted to get on to, let's see, I think we got that. Let's get on to the Hempcrete. Let me bring this back again. I'm sorry to be talking so fast, but I think I have to. All right, that's not working. All right, wrong one. Okay, now.
No, I love the perspective of how Hempcrete's not the only tool in the toolbox. And so it's nice to look when people are going into natural building. I know Tim has done a lot with a couple of different materials, and several have gone down that pathway getting here. And then it's that's all very valuable to know the process of the decision making and the pathway. So yeah.
Good. Yeah, and a lot of these natural buildings combine several of the different systems. Like I know one of my friends, natural builder Kinder Welsh, clay, sand, and straw. She often does some straw bale, some adobe or compressed earth block, and it just depending upon the different orientations, especially in the colder climates. She customizes the walls for the orientation. So okay, let me see. I did that. Okay, so now I'm going to go to this. All right, so this is the little cabin that Ray was talking about, where he and I met a couple weeks ago. Just a real simple rectangle. So it's kind of like a B&B, but some of the guests may stay long term as they're trying to recover as chemically sensitive people, or eco-travelers that want to stay a while. But there are a lot of special requirements with this. I won't go into a whole lot, but one kind of unique thing is that it's centered around a mechanical room, so that everything can be serviced from the outside door without interrupting the guests, but more importantly, trying to keep all of the off-gassing things that we couldn't control, HVAC stuff, separated from the living space. But this seems to be the trend anyway, to having a dedicated mechanical room, because our houses have gotten so complicated now, and we need more room for HVAC and air purification and water, so it's a good idea. So I just wanted to orient you there a little bit, and then let's take just a quick look. Let's see the floor plan. So this is just like looking down on it, but I'm going to rotate it so we can see. Oh, come on, where'd you go? I think it's blocked. Hang on here. Oh, I don't know what's going on here. Ah, well, okay. So I was going to try to do a little move around, but it's not cooperating. All right, let me try this. Try to click here. Do it. Okay, here. Well, I don't know what happened to my menus. So anyway, I was gonna. Oh, here we go. Okay. All right. So just to give you a little bit of an idea, the volume. So no hidden spaces. So no attic, no crawl space. And I'll talk more about the floor in a little bit. But again, no hidden spaces for water or vapor or mold or anything to hide. That was Nora's requirement. So that's kind of what this looks like. And then let's get into, let me close that. Let's look at some of the photos. Hello. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, well, the photos are coming up. The thing that I like to point out is this is an entire business model around a passion around one of the many motivations to build with Hempcrete, and then that's the health and wellness side of things. And so, this is where people can actually go, and if they have those hypersensitivities, detox. And so this is the first of several cabins for people to go do that. And then we're going to have Nora on as well and have some other content. So a little bit of a teaser and a heads up. And so we wanted everybody to know about some people with real projects that are actually going through that primary motivation factor, doing projects, and then you'll be able to hear from them every step of the way. So
Yes.
looks like your pictures are up and ready.
And to really reinforce what Ray said, Nora chose Hempcrete, hemp lime. I'm trying to get retrained, hemp lime, for the reason of protecting the health of her guests. So it was an important thing to her. So, okay, so here, this was back on July 4th of 2023. All my photos are pretty much in the ugly duckling phase here, but local juniper columns that we use a lot of. I don't know where everybody's from, but in the Austin, Texas area. And this one was from on the site, and the other two they purchased. But again, local materials. This is Brad, our wonderful, wonderful builder, showing some of the samples. Like you all were talking earlier about the importance of testing and doing samples, and that's what a lot of this is. And Brad is just an amazing wealth of information. So this is the walls under construction. I like the method they used to attach the forms, and again, he can tell you more details about that, but I thought that was pretty clever. And then just after the forms are removed, and then of course the holes get plugged, and just to show it when the forms have been removed. And you'll notice I chose to put the primary the bearing wall in the middle, or at least it's offset from the middle. But so we're 5.5, 3.5, and 3.5. And as most of you probably know, you can put that bearing wall outside, inside, or outside in the middle of the wall, or inside the building. But for plastering purposes, again, thinking ahead of plastering and not having dissimilar surfaces that have to be spanned with the plaster, I chose to do it this way. And just some of the interior walls, getting the Hempcrete all metal conduit for our electrical to eliminate EMFs. That's something you all might want to consider. Look at either metal conduit, or I always forget what it's called, MX maybe. Anyway, there is another sort of plastic kind. They're both more expensive than normal, but worth it. I think I put this in there to remind me, we're doing a Hempcrete floor. This is just back then. This was just a gravel layer that you can see, and I'll show you some of the Hempcrete floor going in. And Aaron out there mixing. That's the setup they've got. Okay, so now this was from just a couple weeks ago when Ray was out there with me with the. Go ahead, Ray. Did you say something?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so it's got a base coat of plaster. And Brad said, make sure you tell everybody that's just the base coat. And we all loved it. We said, just leave it that way. It looks so good, but it needs probably a little more protection, but it's really beautiful. Inside, so the gorgeous Hempcrete, I think. And then I hate sheetrock. Most of my clients hate sheetrock, so we always tried to do a wood ceiling. And we decided to put a lime wash on it to brighten up the surface, because your ceiling is one of your main reflective surfaces, so it's good to have it light. And then this is just so showing the kind of the detail of the Hempcrete around the window. And these windows Nora had built out of local red oak or white oak, I think, and with the screens that swing out, real simple hardware, because believe it or not, a lot of the hardware has toxic metals in it, so we had to be real careful. Okay, so this is the that goes in bigger. The Hempcrete floor, the Hempcrete subfloor, because then it's going to be topped with an earthen floor. So we use the Hempcrete as an insulating layer, because we do actually need some insulation down here. And again, so this is outside with the wood windows and the first coat of plaster and limestone sills that Brad had made. And this just shows a little bit better on the detail of what was done with the Hempcrete. So let's see, I think I got everything. Okay.
I was going to get you to talk a little bit more about the floor system, because it's so unique. And then I know that they don't have a was it absent of a vapor barrier underneath, and then just had gravel and then the hemp, and then they had the thicknesses to accommodate that. And then there's not a lot of examples of Hempcrete used and then having something come right over it as a flooring. Talk a little bit about some of the considerations that were there. Now, again, this is a unique motivation. This is a unique detail. And so it might not be for you, but it's something that's definitely worth knowing about in your own planning or in your own professional pursuit. So if people ask about it, you can speak intelligently about it.
So we chose to do it without a vapor barrier. Nora kind of went back and forth, but her husband was interested in having the connection to the Earth's electromagnetic field, which when you put the plastic barrier in there, all the research I've done, I've found that stops the flow of the Earth's energy. So I worked really hard to do what Christopher wanted and what I wanted to do. And if you look at it as a system, the floor is a system, and the whole outside is part of the system too. So you've got to have the right soils. Although I think even in clay soils, with the proper building up of the system, and if it's high enough, you could do it. But it has to be done very carefully, and then the grade has to slope away on the outside, and like we've got this fully guttered, good overhangs, so divert as much surface water away. And then Nora knows that this site drains well, subsurface. That it's pretty much rock out there, so it's a really well draining, sloping site. So that was good. But we did put a French drain, a perforated PVC under in the gravel layer that drains to daylight. So just in case, and she's going to monitor that and see if there's any moisture. But so we just we did a thick gravel layer. I'm not sure how many inches I ended up doing, because everything always evolves. But so there's a thick gravel layer, and big enough gravel that it breaks the capillary action, so that the water will not be sucked up. And then the Hempcrete went on as the insulating layer. And then I think Brad said they're going to do about 4 inches. I'd have to look at my drawing. I'm not sure if he's doing it the way I designed it or not, but I think it's about 4 inches of earth above that. So, and I don't know if y'all haven't ever stood on an earthen floor, it's phenomenal. It's just notably different than standing on concrete, just night and day different. So it is therapeutic. So I can't wait till this one's done.
Yeah, so yeah, they were out to accomplish the grounding effect, and then so that was something that, forewarned is forearmed, and then and I like how you mentioned it. It's like they're going to do it, and then they're going to see, and it's just like the systems that I put in under the subfloor in our prototype house is like I'll let you know if that was a good idea about a year from now, and so if it's not a good idea, I know how to fix it, so I'm not worried about that. But there's a lot of this that we're trying out and finding out, and then you just have to monitor the moisture and know how to break it up and know how to work with somebody like Gail who knows how to make those considerations. Because I don't think you would have given the same advice to anybody building along the Gulf Coast or down in Florida by any means.
Probably not, especially if you can't drain to daylight. That could be a problem. I was looking for
Yeah.
one to see if I had one more slide of the electrical chase that we did. If you don't have to follow handicap code, oh, I thought I had it. Maybe you can sort of see it here.
Yeah, that
So
chase
so we
down at the bottom.
Yeah, we ran the electrical and the duplex outlets in the what's going to be covered by a high baseboard, wood baseboard that can be removed and replaced. The only cautions I would say is make sure that is completely sealed from the outside and the inside. Like we'll put gaskets behind the wood to make sure that no insects can get in and that none can get out, or in either way. Sorry, but anyway, it's kind of a nice clean way to do it, and uh, to make it more adaptable to future changes in wiring. So if y'all are interested in trying that and even improving on it.
Yeah, we ran a lot of wiring behind our baseboards and whatnot in there. Kathy had a question if you had done any projects where you incorporate passive solar or any type of greenhouse incorporation into the house.
Well, definitely passive solar. Not in the full blown sense where that's the only method of heating, but definitely a contribution. And usually passive solar encompasses both the sun aspects and the breezes. So yes, we're always concerned about bringing breezes in low on the prevailing wind side, which here is the southeast, and then being able to exit it high on the north side. So hence the clear story windows or the cupola or monitor. But in our climate, a lot of times the overriding factor is shading the glass.
Hmm.
So unless it's a client that's really hardcore and is willing to have movable shading devices, we usually opt for shading the glazing because it's just too brutal if you don't, even with low E. So yes to that. And then the orientation of the building is another part of the whole passive solar design. I mentioned the elongating along the east-west axis so that you've got your long faces to the north and south. The south is usually pretty easy to shade with an overhang, and then east and west is very difficult to shade. So that's where I'm coming from. If you all are from the north, it's a bit different. So
Yeah, cooling climate versus a predominantly heating climate, and then just the main takeaway point is check your prevailing winds. I remember when my parents were building a house, I remembered as a kid them having the compass out there to set up the orientation of the house and where it set on the lot, and that struck me as something to remember. So yeah.
And Kathy, on the greenhouse, we haven't done an integral greenhouse. In this climate, it usually doesn't make sense. But the standalone greenhouse that I mentioned, the earth sheltered one, we're trying to do it with no auxiliary heating and cooling. We're trying to do that purely passive, possibly with a fan for air movement, solar powered. But keep in touch, and we'll let you know how that goes. It's still under construction, and it'll be a while, but it's been a fun, challenging project. One of the hardest, actually, to try to make something completely unassisted in the heating and cooling. It's tough.
Can you talk about the discussion? And I don't know if you had any of this or if this was a builder decision on the spider lath, that fiberglass lath that goes around
Oh
the
yeah.
window. I'm going
That,
to put a picture in the chat, and then I know it was something that Brad introduced me to in a little bit more detail and showed on this project. I know it gives a lot of strength when you put plaster over that, and it's fairly easy to do. Now, he applied that, just smoothed it over the hempcrete, and then, a staple gun a big one, one that you would normally like fasten plywood with. But then that is what gives that enough bite back into the hempcrete to hold that in place. And then you're really not aggressively holding that to do anything but until you get that hempcrete on there. I mean the plaster on there, and so the plaster will make a mechanical bond with the hempcrete, and then it'll have the fiberglass mesh in the plaster, and then and so now you've got that mechanical bond, but then it's also reinforced, especially around your window details, things like that. Somebody comes in, slams the door, or the wind catches it, and then now you've got a crack in here and there, and so it's just that added strength. But Gail, did y'all discuss that on the design phase, or was that something that Brad brought to the table?
Brad definitely brought it to the table, but we talked about it, and because Brad, he always wants to know if it's okay, if it's okay if he does things a little bit different than my drawing show, and it's like by all means, please, because he brings expertise to it that I don't have. This is my first hempcrete. I think this was Brad's second, but he learned a whole lot. He did this amazing. It was a Japanese antique Japanese timber frame house that was brought over from Japan, and then infilled with the hempcrete. And Brad learned a whole lot of what to do and what not to do on that job. So he wasn't taking any chances here because yeah, he wanted this to last.
Yeah, that Minka project is a neat one to look at, and then
Awesome.
there's a good Matt Risinger video that's out there. He's a local
Yes.
Austin guy. He throws a lot of synthetics into the house, so the natural builders might cringe a little bit, but he really did a good job on
Yeah.
highlighting that Minka project, and Brad was key in on that, and so we'll give him some good props on that. But that spider lath is pictured in two of those pictures that we came up with there. And then, again, this is just another, and Gene's putting the link to that Minka video
Oh,
in the
good.
chat as
Thanks,
well. But
Dean.
it's just another,
Here.
you've got a, a subcontractor, an architect collaborating together, and then that's just a great example on that. So Gail, I don't want to interrupt. I'll let you keep rolling, and then we can open it back up and let you and Kim kind of have some questions going at. I know y'all been answering them all along, but I love the example of how uh, design and delivery collaborating is just such a good thing.